Emma Ray was dismissed the moment she stepped into the Golden Plate kitchen, called the soup kitchen refugee, and sabotaged by rivals. Laughed off as a cafeteria nobody who dared touch a royal beef Wellington, they filmed her humiliation, trended her name as a joke, swapped her ingredients to watch her fail. Nobody knew the quiet woman in faded denim carried recipes forged in her grandmother's forgotten legacy, until the dish silenced the judges, exposed the saboteurs, and crowned her the queen of the culinary world. The Golden Plate semi-finals were a crucible of ambition, the kitchen a blazing arena where celebrity chefs, food influencers, and culinary royalty clashed under the glare of studio lights and the weight of a nation's eyes. The air crackled with the sizzle of pans, the clatter of knives, and the smug banter of contestants who wore their egos like Michelin stars, their bespoke aprons and artisanal tools a testament to their pedigreed prowess. Emma Ray entered this Colosseum of gastronomy, a quiet figure in a worn linen shirt, faded denim, and a low, unassuming bun, her calloused hands betraying years as a line cook in a retirement center kitchen, stirring nutritious meals for the elderly. She carried no branded gear, only a modest knife roll, her sole purpose to compete in the Royal Beef Wellington Challenge. A dish so treacherous it had broken Michelin-starred chefs, a dish that devoured dreams. The sprawling kitchen with its gleaming Viking ranges, digital timers, and cameras capturing every bead of sweat was a battleground for the elite, where success was measured in perfect pastry and flawless demi-glace. Victoria Pierce, the favorite to win, held court at her station, her designer apron and diamond stud earrings a stark contrast to Emma's unadorned presence. Across the floor, contestants in tailored chef coats, Instagram-famous cooks, TV personalities, and Ivy League-trained prodigies, flitted between their sous-vide machines, their eyes raking over Emma like hyenas spotting prey. The judges, a trio of world-famous chefs with a combined century of culinary dominion, loomed on their dais, their stares as sharp as cleavers. The audience, both in studio and watching live, sized Emma up with sneers, their whispers a mocking rhythm amplified by social media. Emma's gaze, calm and unyielding, scanned her station with the precision of a veteran, but her unassuming demeanor made her invisible to the elite who ruled the kitchen. To them, she was a prop, a joke, an extra in their scripted drama, and they were determined to crush her before the timer even started. As Emma meticulously arranged her mise-en-place at her station, a group of Instagram-famous food influencers, their aprons emblazoned with glittering sponsor logos, clustered nearby, their laughter a venomous shroud that drowned out the kitchen's ambient sizzle. A tattooed influencer with a platinum grill flashed a sneer, his voice a mocking drawl that reverberated across the studio. "Look at this, our very own soup cylinder thinking she can play chef with our ingredients," he jeered, brandishing his diamond-encrusted tongs like a scepter. "That shirt's so threadbare it's practically begging for a rag bin. And those jeans, they're screaming back alley diner. This is Golden Plate, where we craft edible art for millions, not where you come to fumble with your retirement home slop. You're polluting our kitchen just by touching our beef, sweetheart. Why don't you limp back to your cafeteria before you taint our challenge with your bargain bin presence?" The influencers rode, some flicking herb sprigs at her station, their taunts a relentless barrage that echoed through the arena. A Michelin-starred contestant in a silk chef's coat smirked, her nod fueling their cruelty as the camera zoomed in to capture Emma's calloused hands, framing them as proof of her inadequacy. Emma adjusted her knife roll, her fingers steady despite the jeers, her face an unreadable mask, her silence a fortress against their venom. But the weight of their scorn pressed like a physical force, the audience's indignation surging at the orchestrated public shaming that targeted her preparation and worth. The mise-en-place meant to showcase her skill became a stage for her degradation, each word a calculated strike to crush her spirit, the influencer's smugness a relentless assault on her dignity, amplified by the live feed to millions. The humiliation began before the timer ticked, as Victoria Pierce, perched at her station like a culinary monarch, locked eyes on Emma and unleashed a sneer that carried across the kitchen. "You really think you're worthy of touching royal beef, Grandma?" she drawled, her voice dripping with venomous condescension that silenced the clatter of prep. "Go back to slopping stew in the retirement center cafeteria. Those hands look like they've never held anything finer than a can opener. That shirt is so worn it's practically screaming thrift store. And those jeans, they are an insult to this kitchen. This is Golden Plate, where we craft art, not where you come to play pretend with your soup kitchen scraps. Honestly, it's almost tragic you thought you could stand among us. Why didn't you shuffle back to your retirement home before you embarrass yourself further?" The contestants erupted in laughter, their bespoke knives glinting as they leaned in, savoring the sport. Victoria pressed on, her smirk cruel. "Look at you, no brand, no clout, like you're here to beg for a participation ribbon. Get out before we have to sanitize the station after you." Emma stood motionless, her knife roll in hand, her face an unreadable mask, her silence a wall that only fueled their arrogance, the audience's blood boiling at the vicious public execution of her dignity that marked her as an intruder in their gilded arena. During a brief pause to check her oven's temperature, Emma was accosted by a trio of Ivy League-trained culinary prodigies, their tailored chef coats adorned with prestigious academy crests, their laughter a barbed wire fence that silenced the kitchen's clatter. A bespectacled prodigy with a gold-plated thermometer stepped forward, his voice a sneering bellow that carried over the sizzling pans. "What's this? A lunch lady thinking she can calibrate our ovens?" he mocked, waving his thermometer like a conductor's baton. "That bun so plain it's practically screaming grease trap, and that shirt, it's an insult to Golden Plate's legacy. This is a proving ground for culinary titans, where we forge perfection under pressure, not where you come to botch a Wellington with your soup kitchen clumsiness. You're lowering our pedigree just by standing here, looking like you've stumbled in from a dive bar. Why don't you slink back to your retirement home before you burn our kitchen down with your amateur hacks?" The prodigies rode, some tossing salt grains at her station, their taunts a relentless barrage that echoed through the arena. A TV personality in a velvet apron smirked, her nod encouraging their cruelty as the cameras panned to Emma's worn jeans, framing them as evidence of her unworthiness. Emma checked her oven, the movements precise, her face impassive, her silence a shield against their venom. But the weight of their scorn was a crushing force, the audience's fury erupting at the coordinated public assault that targeted her technical effort and worth. The oven meant to be her tool became a stage for her degradation, each word a dagger aimed at her heart. The prodigy's smugness, a relentless assault on her dignity broadcast live to the nation. Across the kitchen, the contestants' whispers grew bolder, their voices a venomous chorus that echoed through the studio's heat. A food influencer, his apron emblazoned with his million-follower logo, leaned toward a TV chef, his tone loud enough to draw every eye. "She's probably here on a dare, thinking she can whip up a Wellington with her canned soup skills," he sneered, gesturing at Emma's modest station. "That bun so plain, it's screaming lunch lady, and that shirt, it's an insult to our craft. This is Golden Plate, where we redefine cuisine, not where you come to fumble with your retirement home recipes. You're lowering the standard just by breathing our air, lady. Why don't you take your sad little knife roll and scuttle back to the cafeteria before you ruin our vibe?" The contestants cackled, some tossing mock glances at her, their taunts a relentless barrage that humiliated Emma in front of the cameras. A prodigy chef in a silk scarf chuckled, her gold earrings catching the light as she nodded in approval, encouraging the cruelty. Emma adjusted her knife roll, her movements precise, her eyes fixed on her ingredients, her silence a coiled spring, the audience's fury peaking at the brazen public assault that mocked her past and purpose. As Emma began searing her beef, a group of celebrity sous chefs, their aprons monogrammed with famous restaurant insignias, gathered at her station, their laughter a venomous chorus that silenced the kitchen's roar. A burly sous chef with a silver nose ring stepped forward, his voice a mocking bellow that carried over the crackle of meat. "Well, look at this, our very own dishwater diva thinking she can sear our beef," he sneered, brandishing his artisanal spatula like a weapon. "That shirt's so faded, it's practically screaming soup line, and those jeans, they're an insult to Golden Plate's craft. This is a battleground for culinary gods, where we sculpt perfection, not where you come to butcher prime cuts with your retirement home knives. You're defiling our arena just by touching our stoves, darling. Why don't you hobble back to your slop kitchen before you ruin our challenge with your greasy incompetence?" The sous chefs roared, some flicking peppercorns at her station, their taunts a relentless barrage that echoed through the studio. A food critic in a cashmere scarf smirked, her nod fueling their cruelty as the camera zoomed in on Emma's calloused hands, framing them as proof of her failure. Emma seared her beef, her focus unbroken, her face a mask of stone, her silence a fortress against their venom. But the weight of their scorn was a crushing force, the audience's rage erupting at the coordinated public assault that targeted her cooking and worth. The stove meant to be her canvas became a stage for her degradation, each word a calculated strike to crush her spirit, the sous chef's smugness, a relentless assault on her dignity, live-streamed to millions. The sabotage struck as the timer began, a calculated act of cruelty orchestrated by Victoria Pierce, who swapped Emma's clarified butter for frozen margarine, knowing it would ruin the delicate puff pastry essential to the Wellington. As Emma worked, her hands deftly rolling dough, she noticed the margarine's texture, grainy, cold, a death sentence for her dish. The pastry collapsed, a soggy mess, and the kitchen erupted in cruel laughter. The contestants' jeers a storm that drowned the sizzle of pans. Victoria didn't miss a beat, her voice a mocking lilt that carried over the chaos. "Ah, sweetie, never heard of clarified butter, have you?" she sneered, her diamond studs glinting under the lights. "Maybe they don't use that in canned soup school. That dough is so sad it's practically begging for a microwave. And those jeans, they're screaming amateur hour. This is Golden Plate, where we master perfection, not where you come to flounder with your retirement home hacks. You're lucky we even let you near our ingredients. Go back to your slop kitchen before you waste more of our time." The contestants roared, their cheers a tidal wave, some snapping photos of Emma's ruined pastry, their laughter a storm that humiliated her in front of the judges. When Emma attempted to salvage her ingredients by requesting fresh butter from the pantry, a group of reality TV chefs, their aprons splashed with vibrant sponsor logos, blocked her path, their laughter a venomous net that silenced the kitchen's hum. A peroxide blonde chef with a ruby-encrusted whisk stepped forward, her voice a sneering lilt that carried over the clatter of prep. "Oh honey, are you lost, or do you actually think you can raid our pantry?" she mocked, twirling her whisk like a scepter. "That bun so drab it's practically screaming cafeteria. And that shirt, it's an insult to Golden Plate's glamour. This is a stage for culinary superstars, where we dazzle the world, not where you come to scrounge for scraps with your retirement home sob story. You're tarnishing our spotlight just by breathing our air, sweetheart. Why don't you shuffle back to your station before you ruin our pantry with your budget bin hands?" The chefs roared, some tossing parsley flakes at her feet, their taunts a relentless barrage that echoed through the arena. A culinary blogger in a sequin jacket smirked, her nod fueling their cruelty as the cameras panned to Emma's faded jeans, framing them as evidence of her unworthiness. Emma clutched her knife roll, her posture rigid, her face impassive, her silence a shield against their venom. But the weight of their scorn was a crushing force, the audience's rage erupting at the coordinated public assault that targeted her resourcefulness and worth. The pantry meant to be her lifeline became a stage for her degradation, each word a dagger aimed at her heart. The chef's smugness, a relentless assault on her dignity broadcast to the nation. The kitchen's daily dynamics were a showcase of elitism, but for Emma, every moment was a gauntlet of scorn. A TV chef, his coat adorned with sponsor logos, took to leading a mock toast by his station, his voice booming over the clatter of pots. To Emma, the ghost of some forgotten cafeteria, haunting our kitchen with her dollar store aesthetic, he jeered, raising his spatula like a scepter. That shirt's so sad it's practically begging for a donation. And those jeans, they're a crime against Golden Plate's polish. This is where we forge culinary legends, not where you come to beg for a spot with your pitiful soups. Let's give her a round of applause for thinking she could keep up with us. The contestants cheered, some tossing onion peels at her station, their laughter a storm that drowned the timers. Emma worked silently, her eyes fixed on her ruined dough, her silence a defiance that went unnoticed, the audience's rage peaking at the orchestrated public toast that mocked her existence. As Emma worked to rebuild the pastry, a group of Culinary Academy instructors, their chef coats adorned with prestigious medals, gathered at her station, their laughter a venomous chorus that silenced the kitchen's roar. A grizzled instructor with a silver beard stepped forward, his voice a mocking bellow that carried over the sizzle of pans. "What's this?" a soup cook thinking, "she can resurrect our pastry." He sneered, waving his gold-plated ladle like a scepter. "That shirt's so worn it's practically screaming dish rag, and those jeans, they're an insult to Golden Plate's craft. This is a crucible for culinary masters, where we forge perfection, not where you come to flounder with your retirement home failures. You're defiling our arena just by touching our flour, darling. Why don't you hobble back to your slop kitchen before you ruin our challenge with your incompetent hands?" The instructors roared, some tossing flour dust at her station, their taunts a relentless barrage that echoed through the studio. A food critic in a velvet blazer smirked, her nod fueling their cruelty as the camera zoomed in on Emma's calloused hands, framing them as proof of her failure. Emma rolled her dough, her focus unbroken, her face a mask of stone, her silence a fortress against their venom. But the weight of their scorn was a crushing force, the audience's rage erupting at the coordinated public assault that targeted her recovery effort and worth. The pastry meant to be her redemption became a stage for her degradation, each word a calculated strike to crush her spirit. The instructor's smugness, a relentless assault on her dignity live-streamed to millions. The tension reached a breaking point as Emma, her pastry a wreck, quietly removed her apron, the kitchen falling into a stunned silence. The contestants smirked, certain she was quitting, their phones raised to capture her defeat, social media ablaze with hashtags burying her name. Victoria leaned back, her arms crossed, her smirk a beacon of triumph, the cameras zooming in on her victory. Emma stood motionless, her apron in hand, her face an unreadable mask, the weight of their cruelty a sledgehammer threatening to crush her spirit. But then, with a slow, deliberate motion, she turned back to her station, retying her apron with a precision that silenced the snickers. No outburst, no tears, only a cold, burning resolve in her eyes. She reset her station from scratch, her hands moving with a grace born of her late grandmother's teachings. A woman who'd once cooked for French aristocracy before dying penniless. Emma hand-rolled fresh puff pastry, her fingers coaxing the dough into submission, her demi-glace brewed from bones, herbs, and a patience the others could never fathom. The contestants laughed, oblivious, their jeers a storm that failed to shake her focus. She seared the beef with a surgeon's precision, her every move a silent rebuke to their scorn, the audience's hearts pounding with anticipation as her skill unfolded in the face of sabotage. Emma's transformation was a quiet storm, her station a fortress of focus as she rebuilt her Wellington, her hands weaving ancient French techniques into every layer. The contestants, too busy preening for the cameras, failed to notice the alchemy at her station, their laughter a fading echo as Emma's dish took shape. She laminated the pastry with a deftness that belied her retirement home roots, her demi-glace simmering with a depth that spoke of generations, her beef roasted to a perfect medium rare. The judges, sensing a shift, leaned forward, their pens still, their eyes narrowing as Emma plated her dish with a minimalist elegance that stunned the arena. The timer buzzed, and the kitchen fell silent, the contestants' smirks faltering as Emma presented her Wellington, its golden pastry a beacon of perfection, its aroma a silent challenge to their cruelty. As Emma presented her reconstructed royal beef Wellington, the kitchen fell into a reverent hush, her golden pastry a radiant beacon under the studio lights, its aroma a silent challenge that stilled the judges' pens. The head judge, his 30 years of culinary dominion etched into his weathered face, sliced into the dish, the crust yielding with a perfect crack, revealing a flawless medium-rare beef enveloped in a rich duck sauce. He took a bite, his eyes widening, his fork clattering to the plate as he whispered, "This is not just a dish. It's a masterpiece that redefines the Wellington." The other judges, their scorecards forgotten, nodded in unison, their faces alight with awe as they savored Emma's creation, each bite a testament to her unmatched skill. The contestants, their smirks erased, stood frozen, their bespoke aprons now relics of their failure, as the cameras captured the judges' bowed heads, a silent salute to Emma's triumph. The audience's satisfaction soared, their rage at the sabotage transformed into euphoria at the affirmation of her talent, the kitchen a coliseum of justice, where Emma's dish reigned supreme. Victoria's face collapsed, her diamond studs dull, her betrayal exposed by the CCTV footage still looping on the screens, her shame a public spectacle that echoed beyond the arena. The press scribbled furiously, the headlines framing Emma as a culinary titan, her Wellington a legend that would outlive the competition. The contestants who'd laughed now averted their eyes, their arrogance buried under the weight of her genius, the air thick with the scent of her redemption and their disgrace. The second judge, a culinary icon known for her unyielding standards, rose from the dais, her voice trembling with reverence as she addressed the arena, her words a thunderclap that silenced the contestants' fading jeers. "Emma Ray, your Wellington is a symphony of technique and soul, a dish that honors the past while redefining the future," she declared, her eyes fixed on Emma's unassuming bun, now a crown of quiet genius. "This is not just a victory, it's a revelation of what true mastery means." The cameras zoomed in on Emma's station, her modest knife roll a stark contrast to the contestants' branded gear, her dish a monument to her resilience. The audience's hearts pounded with pride, their fury at the sabotage eclipsed by the judges' unanimous acclaim, each word a nail in the coffin of Victoria's arrogance. The influencer, her apron stripped, stood trembling, her social media empire crumbling as the CCTV footage looped, exposing her sabotage to millions. The contestants who'd tossed herbs now lowered their heads, their clout erased by Emma's triumph, the kitchen a stage for their reckoning. The press captured every moment, their reports framing Emma as the silent chef, her talent a beacon that outshone their cruelty. The judges' scorecards, now irrelevant, lay abandoned, their bowed heads a testament to Emma's enduring dignity, the air thick with the weight of her victory and their disgrace. The judges called for the CCTV footage, and the arena's screens lit up, exposing Victoria's sabotage to the nation. The footage played in brutal clarity, Victoria swapping the butter, smirking as Emma's pastry collapsed, her laughter a damning echo. The contestants gasped, their phones lowering, their hashtags turning to ash as Victoria's betrayal was laid bare. The head judge stood, his voice a guillotine that silenced the kitchen. "Victoria Pierce, your actions are a disgrace to this competition," he declared, stripping her apron with a single motion. "You are banned for life from every professional kitchen in America, effective immediately." Victoria's face collapsed, her diamond studs dull, her influencer empire crumbling as social media turned on her, the hashtag Golden Plate Saboteur trending nationwide. The third judge, a stoic legend whose palate had shaped global cuisine, stood slowly, his voice a resonant decree that froze the arena, his eyes locking on Emma's calloused hands, now revered as instruments of genius. In my 50 years, I have never tasted a dish that marries tradition and innovation with such grace, he said. His words a guillotine that severed the contestants' lingering smugness. Emma Ray, your Wellington is not just food. It's a legacy that will echo in kitchens for generations. The cameras panned to Emma's station, her faded jeans a badge of her triumph, her dish a silent rebuke to the sabotage that sought to break her. The audience's satisfaction soared, their rage at the cruelty transformed into awe at the judge's reverence. Each accolade a blow to the antagonist's pride. Victoria, her name now a synonym for disgrace, stood trembling, her social media accounts flooded with condemnation. The influencers who'd mocked Emma stood silent, their social media clout buried under her brilliance. The kitchen a coliseum where her talent reigned supreme. The press broadcast the moment, framing Emma as the silent chef, her talent a beacon that outshone their betrayal, the air thick with the scent of her redemption and their shame. The final plot twist came as the head judge rose again, his words a thunderclap that made the arena quake. Emma Ray, you're not just today's winner, he said, his voice trembling with reverence. You are now our executive chef at our newest 3-star Michelin restaurant in Paris, effective immediately. The crowd gasped, the contestants frozen, their bespoke aprons now relics of their failure. As the judges conferred, the head judge returned to the dais, his voice a resonant proclamation that shook the arena, his eyes fixed on Emma, now a beacon of culinary mastery under the studio lights. Emma Ray, your dish has not only won this challenge, but has redefined the royal beef Wellington for a new era, he declared, his words a thunderclap that obliterated the contestants' lingering arrogance. Your appointment as executive chef of our Paris Michelin restaurant is just the beginning. Your Wellington will be taught in culinary schools worldwide. The cameras captured Emma's unassuming bun, her linen shirt now a symbol of triumph, the dish a monument of her grandmother's legacy. The audience's hearts pounded with pride, their fury at the sabotage eclipsed by the judge's historic decision, each word a nail in the coffin of the antagonist's pride. Victoria, her ban broadcast to millions, stood trembling, her influencer empire reduced to ashes as social media turned on her, the hashtag Golden Plate Saboteur trending globally. The sous chefs who tossed peppercorns now lowered their heads, their status erased by Emma's brilliance, the kitchen a stage for their reckoning. The press captured every moment, their reports framing Emma as a culinary titan, her talent a beacon that outshone their cruelty. The judges' scorecards, now irrelevant, lay abandoned, their reverence a testament to Emma's enduring dignity, the air thick with the weight of her victory and their disgrace. Emma only smiled, her voice soft but resonant, each syllable a guillotine. Every simple woman carries recipes no one like you will ever understand, she said, her eyes locking on Victoria's trembling frame. Outside the arena, as Emma prepared to leave, a crowd of chefs, food critics, and fans gathered under the studio's neon glow, their eyes wide with awe, their whispers reverent as they chanted "Silent Chef." The head judge followed her, his voice a solemn vow that echoed through the night, his words a final guillotine that severed the last vestiges of the antagonist's pride. Emma Ray, your Wellington has not only won Golden Plate, but has inspired a global movement to honor the unsung, he declared, his eyes fixed on her faded jeans, now a symbol of triumph. We dedicate this season to your grandmother's legacy. The cameras captured Emma's quiet nod, her linen shirt a badge of her victory, her dish a legend that would outlive the arena. The audience's satisfaction soared, their rage at the cruelty transformed into pride at the judge's tribute, each word a blow to the antagonist's legacy. Victoria, her ban a national scandal, stood trembling in the shadows, her social media accounts deleted, her name a cautionary tale. The influencers and sous chefs who'd mocked Emma stood silent, their careers buried under her brilliance, the studio a monument of her legacy. The press broadcast the moment, framing Emma as the silent chef, her talent a beacon that outshone their betrayal, the air thick with the scent of her redemption and their disgrace. Emma didn't linger in the arena. Her point was made, her power undeniable. The press uncovered her past. A line cook who'd honed her craft in a retirement center, their skills forged in the crucible of her grandmother's forgotten legacy. A woman who'd cooked for aristocracy but died penniless. They called her the silent chef, her linen shirt and jeans now symbols of untouchable authority. Other chefs sent her invitations, begging for mentorship, but she declined, her silence as powerful as her dishes. The contestants who'd mocked her were left to grapple with their shame, their status erased, their clout a fading echo. Emma's victory wasn't just a title. It was a lesson etched into Golden Plate's history, a reminder that the simplest woman could wield the deadliest skill, the audience's hearts pounding with pride. Golden Plate's culture of elitism crumbled. New judges demanded humility, their respect for Emma absolute, their eyes on the kitchen where she'd redefined power. The arena's lights, once a backdrop for privilege, now reflected its failure, the memory of Emma's Wellington a shadow over every challenge. Victoria was forced to publicly apologize on live television, her voice shaking as she admitted her sabotage, the footage spreading online to further humiliate her. The blacklisted contestants were shunned, their names erased from every culinary network, their status a relic of their downfall. Emma's empire grew, her Paris restaurant a beacon for every underdog who'd been laughed out of a kitchen, the audience cheering her triumph as a testament to true strength. In the weeks that followed, Emma's name became a mantra in kitchens worldwide, her story a cautionary tale for every smug chef. The contestants who chanted for her humiliation were ostracized, their reputations tarnished, their influence meaningless against her reach. Golden Plate's ratings soared, its sponsors clamoring to align with Emma's legacy, its format retooled to honor skill over status. Emma was spotted at a charity event, her linen shirt understated, her presence a quiet storm that commanded every room. She didn't need their lights, their aprons, or their approval. She'd come to cook, and they'd failed, their arrogance crushed in the span of one dish. The silent chef had no need for their world. She'd already conquered it. The audience screaming her name, their satisfaction a roar that echoed beyond the kitchen. Emma didn't have to scream. She let them laugh. She let them film her humiliation. And when she rose, she made them kneel. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and become a part of our Everyday Life Stories community. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment below. We love hearing from our amazing viewers around the world.